after we collected 15 years of co-payments and premiums from you. They used to do that. I can give you many examples, specific examples. Today you have a right to say to the insurance company, go to hell. I have a right to stay on this policy and get what I've been paying for. Today in America, a senior who has been accustomed to going to the doctor for preventative health care and having to make a payment for that, the co-payment, which is very difficult. Like the woman I mentioned to you before who asked to make a repayment to Social Security because of the overpayment she got, who was living on a fixed income, less than $1,000 on her Social Security payments. Today, that woman will be able to go, or beginning January 1st, 2011, that woman will be able to go to her doctor and get that mammogram or that preventative health care as a senior. And she will not pay for it because the decision has been made based on what the experts tell us that if we give you access to preventative health care as a senior, you stay healthier longer, and guess what? Taxpayers save money because you don't need to have as much medicine and health care. That's now your right. Those are all good things. Now, you may not like some of the other things, but I didn't have a choice to say, well, I like these, I'll take these only, and I won't take things I don't like. I had one vote. And so I chose to make the historic investment to get this country moving forward instead of, once again, coming back and saying, we tried, it wasn't good enough, and so we didn't do it. The second thing I wanted to mention is this. Healthcare is extremely expensive. Healthcare will drive not just the federal government's budgets, but this economy down into the ditch even further if we don't corral the cost of healthcare. We need to do this now because the costs are becoming outrageous, not just for seniors who are on fixed incomes, but for all of us as families. We can no longer afford to have such expensive costs for healthcare. And we can no longer have the middlemen charging us so much for healthcare that's so expensive. And so we need to do this together. This bill was not perfect. I think everyone will admit that. But it is an investment historically made for the people of this country so that 32 million Americans today will be able to go through the doors of the doctor or the hospital. Guess what? They'll go with payment. There is a baking company in Los Angeles, in our district, in this 31st congressional district, that has 25 employees. LA Baking Company. Those 25 employees get insurance because the small business owners of LA Baking Company have decided to offer healthcare insurance as expensive as it is to their employees. Today, that business owner is getting a 35% tax credit for each and every individual employee that he or she has in the company to help cover the cost of that health insurance. Why? Because of this historic investment in healthcare. So that baking company now gets to compete at a better rate against all the other baking companies that don't offer their employees insurance, health insurance, and therefore could reduce the cost of the baking products that they produce. I think it's better to have all those employees insured health-wise and let the cost of the product, the food that they're buying, be reflected in the fact that it's now an even competition. Not that I'm trying to make more of a buck than you are, because I'm going to skim on giving my employees access to health care. Those are the decisions we have to make, and that's why I'm very proud to give you a chance to be the member of Congress making those decisions for you.
That's very complicated. It's very well that we hear about that. You went a little bit over on your time. Would you care to add anything to your statement?
Yeah. 2 points. The first one has to do with this current health care bill. And because of the demands that are put on it, the unknown structuring, I think we're already seeing is driving the health care cost up and not down. There will be obviously exceptions. The second, well, there's been listed, remember what happened with Mr., I would ask you, maybe you can help me on and respond when we finish. There was a situation where Mr. Waxman was putting in a subpoena for a number of corporations because he said it was going to cost more, and that was dropped and canceled. I never heard why, and that would be interesting if you know. I would be personally curious. The second is perhaps deciding as a principle who we are as a people and what our roots are. And I will argue that the issues that he's talking about, the decisions that people can make to allow their children to carry on health care until 25, be able to have insurance if you have a pre-existing condition, does remain a privilege, and it's not a right. It was well defined in our Declaration of Independence, and that was defined by the words that our president seems to have a little difficulty stating, and I'll state them. We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal, that they are endowed by their Creator with certain unalienable rights, and among these are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. These words are absolutely critical to who we are as a people and who we are as a country. Because what it is saying is that our rights come to us from something outside of ourselves, and they're fixed. Any other right, and these are our rights not in terms of what the government is doing for us, but it's our freedom of action. It's things that we can do as individuals. That's what our rights are. The others may be wonderful and good things, but there are privileges, and consequently, just as easily as they are given to us, another administration could come along, another Congress can come along, and they could be taken away. Thank you.
This is kind of a multiple choice. This election has been about deficits and spending. I'm worried about the social safety net, and especially Social Security. What are you or can you do to defend these programs?
1930s, when Franklin Delano Roosevelt moved to enact Social Security, 8 of every 10 seniors in America retired in poverty. Today, now with Social Security and with Medicare enacted in 1965, less than 1 of every 10 Americans who are seniors retire in poverty. Not that they're not having a tough time, but poverty is a very difficult thing to have to experience if you've given so many years of your life working for this country, and to know that you cannot live your remaining years with dignity would be very tough. But Social Security and Medicare, 2 valuable institutions that have now become a fabric of our life, have made it possible for seniors to weather this very difficult economic recession. Some people would like to privatize Social Security. I will fight tooth and nail if I'm reelected to make sure that we do not privatize Social Security.